Hello everyone, Tina Spalding Trance Channel here. Yesterday in Canada we had a horrible experience. Not everyone cared about it, I guess, but I did. I had been kind of keeping track of it. Over 300 healthy ostriches were killed by the Canadian government yesterday. It was done in the middle of the night. For hours and hours they were shooting these creatures, and it just seems to me that, obviously I'm just upset. Sorry. It seems to me that things are happening in our world that are really hard to look upon with neutrality. Obviously, I'm a Course in Miracles student and I've been doing this work for a long time. And I have done pretty well at not getting involved in the ego's playground, as Jesus calls it. He says this is a place where we come to play out our idols of power and influence, worshipping bodies and believing in death. And of course, there are always bad things happening around the world, or what we deem to be bad things. But this really affected me yesterday. Obviously, I haven't been able to observe it with any kind of equanimity. So I would like Jesus to talk to us about how to handle it when we have these feelings of overwhelm, that things should not be happening, or that evil people are hurting innocent creatures. It's the nature of this place, obviously. This is not the first time this has happened, but for whatever reason, it has greatly affected me. And there were 40,000 signatures by Canadians attempting to stop this killing, because these birds were healthy. Flu had gone through the herd about last year sometime, and 20%, 30% of them died. But obviously the ones that were left didn't get sick or had immunity to the sickness. It was very clearly a government mandate to not only eliminate these creatures, but to intimidate and torture the owners of these creatures. Very, very cruel. So I'd like to make this video. I don't normally do things that are so personal, but I can feel the loss of peace that I have going on around this subject. So hopefully I can hold it together while Jesus channels. Just give me a sec. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. When you are overwhelmed with emotion regarding something that is going on in the world, you are, of course, being human. You have come into this place because there are things that you have not yet resolved. There are things that you believe in that are not true. There are evolutions that you need to go through. And of course, when you come into this place of separation, you do not remember why you came into this place of separation. You see the world as objective. You see other beings as separate from you. You believe in the illusion that you have so convincingly made for yourself to convince yourself that you are separate from God. That is what this place is. Now, this is what you may consider an advanced spiritual principle, this idea that You have created this illusion to convince yourself that you are separate from God and therefore safe from God. That is what has happened here. And as you evolve through your lifetime, you will encounter aspects of belief that are untrue. You will be pulled into the world because you have manufactured this world to deceive yourself. It seems as if the devil is at play here. We use the devil in inverted commas. There is no such thing as the devil, but there is a devilish naughtiness to your own consciousness that deceives you. And it deceives you by putting into the world that which breaks your heart, or that which seduces you, or that which controls you. It seems to be outside of you, but in fact, it is coming from within your own consciousness. Everything you're experiencing is your own consciousness being revealed to you. You have, like an iceberg, 5 or 10% of your consciousness that you see as yourself. You think it is the whole you. But it is not the whole you. There is a lot of you hidden from view from you. And it is the subconscious, the unconscious that controls you. And when you, in your living of your life, encounter an experience that triggers deep pain or suffering or anger, rage, deep caring in some form or another, you may lust after the thing that you have encountered, or you may be repulsed by the thing that you have encountered. But either way, it is a very, very strong reaction that seems, we will use the word disproportionate, but in this case, for example, it is not disproportionate. It is a very, very sad thing to see innocent creatures, we will say, murdered by not so innocent creatures. We do not want you to feel that feeling is bad in any way. Your guidance system is your feeling self. But we have to bring you back to Course in Miracles basics, which is that when you are suffering, you are off track. But we also want to reinforce this understanding that to feel what you're feeling is okay, even if it's off track. So when you are observing a story, as our dear one has done, as it relates to these birds, it's relatively close to where she lives in British Columbia, Canada. And of course, in Canada, they have been experiencing government overreach and government intimidation that has brought into the minds of many Canadians the idea that they are not being governed by beings who care about them, but by beings who want to control them. And so what's coming up in the psyche of many Canadians is this idea that they are realizing that they are not free, and they are realizing that they are not being governed by loving beings, and that they are not being treated fairly, and that the structures and processes that are ramping up are leading them into a kill pen that they do not want to go into. We are using this analogy intentionally. But what is happening is an awakening. It is an awakening to the idea that to hand over your power to a group of people who are not loving in their intent is a death sentence. This is not the first time this has happened on this planet, and it will not be the last. But as you awaken to the truth, it is, we will call it, a devastating realization. And often when you have this devastating realization, there is a period of what you would call disillusionment. Disillusionment means that you are still believing in the illusion, as in the government exists as a separate entity. I live in a country. I am an individual person. This is not a spiritual view of the world. This is a worldly view of the world, the ego's view of the world. When the world begins to really reveal itself to you as the place of separation that it is, disillusionment sets in. And this, if you will, is a breaking of your illusions. And it is painful to go through because you have constructed them. You chose to be born into the body and the family you were born into. You chose to be born into the country and the culture and the religion that you were born into because it suited you. It suited your idols, the things that you worshipped. You came into the world to re-experience those things that you still worshipped. But as the illusion is broken, there is pain felt because then the fear of God comes up. Now, this may seem crazy to some of you, but this is what disillusionment feels like. It feels like something that you believed in and thought was your salvation has turned out to be the very opposite of your salvation. And so fear comes to the surface very, very quickly when you become disillusioned and realize that the system that you believed in wholeheartedly is not trustworthy. And so what happens is a tremendous loss, and it can happen very, very quickly when a story shatters your dreams and illusions, as this one is doing to many Canadians. It is shattering their belief in their government. It is shattering their belief in humans when they see ordinary men and women accomplices in this murderous rampage that happened just a short time ago. To see people doing things that are incomprehensible to you shatters your illusions. To see governments implementing murderous propositions will shatter your illusions, and it will leave you floundering because this is what you have believed in. This is why you came here, or so you thought. But the truth of the matter is you came here to let go of your illusions. You came here to, in fact, see that they hold no water. You came here, in fact, to learn how to become a sovereign being and to become the captain of your own ship and the master of your own mind. And in that, being able to be far more influential than when you hand over your power to some other body, some other person, some other system. So for those of you that feel disillusioned by the war in the Middle East, or disillusioned by your government, or disillusioned by what has happened with these dear ostriches, we want you to understand that this is part of your ascension process. Now, people would say there cannot be a God, there cannot be Christ consciousness if things like this are allowed to happen. But you must understand this, that this is not a place where God rules. This is a place where fear and separation rules. That's the default setting here. You are seemingly separated from God. You live in these separate bodies that seem to die. You have brought yourself into this place of death and destruction and fear. And it is only in waking up that you will be able to rise above the battleground. So what happened with our dear one is that she was pulled into the battleground over this story. And it is something within her own consciousness that pulled her into this battleground and that has made her care about this particular subject. It is not wrong to care, but once you get pulled into the world in the way that our dear one has been pulled into this story, you will suffer. You will suffer disillusionment because this world is not designed to make you happy. It is a place of separation and fear, and when you get pulled into it, then you will suffer, and that is why she has been suffering with this particular story. And so today, she realizes, because of the teachings that she has been studying for a very long time and the association that we have, she realizes that she went down into the battleground. What is the solution for this? And this is what she has been asking us for the last 24 hours. What do you do in this kind of circumstance? What do you do when you see that the ruling bodies are corrupt? What do you do when you see that 40,000 people cannot stop the machinery of killing? What do you do when you have these strong, strong feelings? Is there something to do in the world? Is there something that she should be doing or saying? And we would tell her that she is doing it right now. This is what she needs to do. She needs to help all of you who are suffering. She needs to bring through the information that will help you stop suffering. That is her job. She feels that there's something else that she should be doing, but that is not the case in her particular life purpose. This is her job, to help you understand why you feel the way you feel when you are heartbroken over what's happening in the world. You have become disillusioned. And the very theater that you set up to trick yourself into believing the world is falling apart in front of your eyes, and you cannot believe in it anymore. And yet you are down in the battlefield. You are down in the battleground. You're at war. The only thing you can do is to decide to rise above the battleground. That is all you can do, because the battleground cannot be solved. It serves a purpose. It is the place that you all go to, the worldly place, when you have idols that you still worship of power and violence and lust and greed. This is where you come to play with your idols. And when you hit that place of disillusionment, that is when you really begin to suffer, not from the not from the battleground itself, but from your loss of belief in the battleground. And that is what has happened to our dear one. She believed in the battleground for a while, and it has caused her suffering. Just as those of you who have been immersed in the violence of the Middle East in the last year or so, you have been suffering because you have been literally in the battleground. You have been believing in evil. You have been believing in the good guy and the bad guy. You have been believing in death. You have been believing in these things. That's why you came to this place. You came to this place to follow your beliefs, to follow the idols that you have not yet voluntarily relinquished. We cannot take your idols from you, you see. You have to voluntarily relinquish them. You have to voluntarily say, I am not going to look at death and destruction on my phone or on my computer or on my television, because I do not want to be in the battleground any longer. I want to be above the battleground. But you have been trained that caring and these deep feelings of grief are signs that you are a good person. And of course you are a good person. You are a deluded person as well. You are a confused person as well. You are untrained as well. And so when the suffering has been enough for you, when you have shed your tears and understand that you've been in the battleground and that you have fallen for something in your own consciousness that has lured you down into the battleground, then you can forgive it. And we don't mean forgiving it in the sense that what those beings did is okay. What we mean by quantum forgiveness is that you understand what the battleground is. You understand what separation is. You understand that you will not find happiness out there. Things are temporary. They die and move on. There is divorce, death, destruction, war in this place. The only way it can change is by what you do with your mind and your focus and your intention. And so that's the very, very long answer to what can you do. You must rise above the battleground. You must stop looking at murder whether it's recreationally in your TV shows, whether it's to inform yourself in your newscasts, or whether it's on your social media. And we understand that there is great pain, in particular around this subject, for many Canadians today. But what we also want you to know is that you are powerful creators. But you are not so powerful when you are down in the battleground. You must rise above the battleground, and you must bring all of your energy to bear in creating what it is that you would like to experience. So this means that you do not watch murder for recreation, because if you allow murder into your mind as recreation, then you will see it reflected out in the world. That means that you must train your mind out of violence and attack within your own mind, so that the universe does not reflect violence and attack back to you. This is the ascension at play. And the reason that it is becoming so dramatic is that there are beings on your planet that are very well aware that the ascension is happening. And they want you down in the battleground, because down in the battleground you are powerless. You have much less influence. Your frequency is lower. You have much less influence. So, to round this particular message off, we say to you, shed your tears, have your anger, and then ask yourself, how can I get above the battleground? Well, we have given you all of the videos that you need to get above the battleground. We have given you the Course in Miracles. We have given you many, many opportunities to study and get above the battleground. And our dear one is returning to basics today, because she understands that something in her has taken her into death and destruction and murder. And it is her consciousness that has been watching it. It is her consciousness that has been indulging in it. And what do you do when you see that the government that you have elected has created murder and mayhem? You get above the battleground and you become influential. It is a systematic process. If you think about what happened to me in my incarnation so many years ago, the higher my frequency went, the more influence I had, the more ability I had to change the world. And the same thing goes for all of you. Stop watching murder and mayhem. Understand that this system that is at play is the dark net that has been thrown over your planet for a very, very long time. And that the beings that are in charge of the dark net know exactly how to manipulate you, know exactly what to say to get you to do what they want you to do. You must reclaim your mind. You must learn what propaganda looks like. You must become the captain of your own ship. And it is in that process that the governments will change. While you believe you're powerless, while you stand there on the sidelines, not thinking that you are capable of anything at all other than simple cause and effect, then you won't have any influence. So for all of you that have tuned into this because of sadness, disillusionment, fear, anger, rage, feel your feelings, let them out. Do not stuff them down thinking that that is spiritual, but let it all come out. Have a good cry, punch a pillow, and then turn inward and ask yourself, where do I exhibit murderous thoughts, violent ideas, judgmental images? Where am I cruel? Where am I uncaring? And pick up A Course in Miracles, and if you are so inclined, the books that this being has channeled so that you can educate your mind. And do just that, educate your mind and understand that as you do rise above the battleground, you will be guided. You will be guided in how to shift and change your reality. So if you are feeling overwhelmed with powerlessness or anger, again, let it flow, let it get out, express it. Feel the strength of the energy that is contained within you and understand that you have been poorly educated, poorly trained, and your mind and your heart is being dragged around by beings who know so much about psychology and so much about human emotion. And so, to be a fair opponent to that belief and that influence, you must match their training, which means you must train your mind. It means that you must forgive. You must learn what forgiveness is in actual fact and how it functions. And of course, we have brought many, many messages through teaching you just that. And you must understand that this is not your natural home here. You are loving beings and you are connected to your natural home with what we would call an invisible umbilical cord that functions at the frequency of love. And whenever you encounter something that is not loving, you suffer. But it is you that brought you here, and it is you that believes in the world. And it is only you that can align with love in your mind, in your heart, in your thoughts, in your words, in your deeds. And in that alignment, you will send out powerful ripples throughout the universe that will change the universe. The universe, you see, is reflective. It is not ignoring you. It is reflecting you. Think of the violent things that you have watched and enjoyed, whether they be blockbuster movies or your favorite murder mystery show. And think about what you use for entertainment. Think about what you do with your time. Think about what you consume in all ways. Are you consuming loving things? If you gave what you give to yourself to a 4-year-old, this is a great test. Would you let a 4-year-old watch what you watch? Would you let a 4-year-old eat and drink what you eat and drink? Would you let a 4-year-old listen to what you listen to? And if the answer is no, that means it's not loving, because most people are actually very, very kind to 4-year-olds and they wouldn't want to contaminate them or hurt them or injure them in any way. And yet you will do it to yourself because you have been trained to do it to yourself. And you have come here because you believe in separation and you believe in attack and you believe in violence. That is why you've come into this world at this time. Now, this all seems very depressing. On the contrary, it is not depressing. The ascension is underway and you are all having revealed to you the truths of what is going on your planet at this time. And yes, it is difficult to realize that your governing bodies do not love you and do not care for you. It is difficult to realize that there are things going on in the world that are dark indeed. But you know that the only thing that can dispel the dark is light, and you are light. You are naturally light, but you have had layers of dirt thrown over you. And we are helping you clean those layers of dirt. And it is in cleaning those layers of dirt, showing you where you are disillusioned and deluded, that we can help you rise above the battleground. So do not despair. The ascension is underway. The darkness is being revealed. And in that revelation, you will see that you do not want it, and that you are going to become willing to do the work to rise above the battleground and to claim your natural, loving, light-filled nature. That is why death and destruction is making you so sad. It is not who you are or what you are. But for a short time, you have believed that that is what you are. And that is why the illusion is crumbling and the shadowy governments are being revealed for what they truly are, the unevolved aspects of humanity. So rise above the battleground, turn off the violence, turn off the war, say your prayers and help in any way you can for those beings that have been devastated by this rampage that has happened in the last 24 hours. Send them love, send them prayers, send them financial help if you can. They will never recover from it in their own human lives in this way. It has been so traumatic for them that they will never be the same unless they decide to forgive and rise above the battleground. But that is a tall order at this time. So have great compassion for yourself, because you too have been deluded by the illusion that you have created. And have great compassion for those humans that are suffering because of the actions of the Canadian government. I am that one that you know as Jesus. We are here to assist you in your ascension. We are here to teach you how things really work, and we have given you all of the information that you need in A Course in Miracles, in the books that this being has written, and in the numerous videos that you can find on YouTube. If this is the first time that you have found this channel, please subscribe and go and investigate all of the wonderful channelings that this being has gifted the world. You are not alone. You are being helped through this ascension process. But to ascend, you must let go of all the darkness in your own mind. You cannot just blame everybody else for everything. You must understand that you believe in things that are untrue and unloving, and it is your responsibility to clarify yourself. And in that clarification, you will become influential. You will align with love, and you will send ripples of love out into the universe. And it is that you will have reflected back to you. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will speak to you again soon. All right. Well, it was nice not being in my consciousness for a while. It's one of the gifts of channeling. And of course, that message was for me. You can listen to it or not, but I wanted to share this experience because so often I just don't say anything. And I know that this has been very difficult for many, many people. If you like this information, please subscribe and like and share this video. It will be helpful to many, many people suffering today in Canada. Thank you. Bye-bye.